Like we make more than what we raise every month.
Coming out here, you literally got into a car, pitched a guy in
Yes.
like 40 minutes and got your first commitment.
Yes.
Hi folks, this is Hong from Fund BMC, and we're here today with episode 2. Our guest is Moah from Boomerang, the Gmail app that everyone knows and loves. She is both the co-founder and chief product officer. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So you have a super interesting story. We've known each other for almost a decade now.
Yeah.
And I don't think, like, you're not a press person. Like, you don't, like, there's not a lot of information on you guys. So if I search about the story and like the founding of the company, it kind of takes you all the way back to the UberCab story, I would say.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the story?
Sure. So we were trying to raise money, our seed round back in 2010 in Boston. Mm-hmm. And we probably won like 34-0 or something, right? So we were doing something that nobody's really done before, building a personal productivity plugin into somebody else's platform, Gmail. And there was nobody else doing it before then. Mm-hmm. So Boston investors were like, how could this make money? So
because Gmail at the time was also free.
Gmail was at the time also free, yes. And we weren't sure how we would make money either, but we knew that we built a really useful product that our customers just love. Mm-hmm. And we know that it brings real value to real people. So we came out here because we had 2 weddings, like one in Seattle, one in San Diego. Mm-hmm. So we stopped by in Silicon Valley to talk to a bunch of investors and see what happens. And we were staying at this like crappy rundown hotel in Sunnyvale. And the name is Sundowner Inn. It's like,
I know that place.
Really depressing name, right? Who named it?
Sunnyvale was kind of,
Yes. So we were supposed to meet a friend of Alex, who was now a VC, and he canceled on him. So we were just sitting in that hotel, pretty depressed. And I saw a tweet from Dave McClure on Twitter saying, "Hey, if you can pick me up from Bucks." Which we didn't know what Bucks was, right? We went here. So
Bucks is a restaurant in Woodside.
That where apparently
all the VCs hang out.
A lot of VCs hang out there. We didn't know. I just saw Bucks and I was like, hey, we can pick you up. And the whole tweet was, if you pick me up and take me to my car mechanic because his car broke down. Right. Car mechanic in Mountain View, I'll let you put you on the ride. Yeah. So we responded and like, we'll pick you up, but we didn't actually know where it was. So Alex just started driving as we were coordinating. Yeah. Bucks, what is Bucks?
Were you in the car?
No, okay. I was coordinating from from the hotel.
You were the operations center.
Yes, and I was like, is it Starbucks in Woodside? Yeah. What do you mean? He's like, no, Bucks Restaurant. So I Google, send the address, and Alex is typing into the GPS, and then they, talk on the way. And the main thing is Dave is very data driven, and he has his like personal rule of 3 signals. So the 3 signals he got were, one was his assistant Melissa. You know Melissa? Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, she was using Boomerang at the time already, and she told Dave about it. Like, oh, look at this tool. This is really cool. You should try it, right? And then so she was actually using Boomerang to manage Dave's emails. Right. And then the second signal was there was another woman VC, Catherine Barr, was trying to intro us to Dave to meet with him.
She's still a VC.
Yes. Yeah. And then we have basically just like, he just talked us through the whole funnel, like, hey, how many people come in? What's the conversion rate? How many, percentage retain? All this stuff, we know it down cold. So we were, Alex was able to answer. So in that 40 minutes of driving him from Woodside to Mountain View.
Thank goodness for Bay Area traffic.
Yes, and he committed, and that was our first check.
Really?
Yes.
Your first check. So you were still in Boston.
We were still in Boston. We hadn't even officially moved out here. Oh. We were only here for like 5 days.
This is like pre-500 startups.
Pre-500 startups.
So like you were in batch 0.
Or fan 0.
Yeah, batch 0. Or whatever like the original crew from 10 years ago.
Yes.
I remember Melissa. Melissa's still at 500. Yeah. She's awesome. I feel sorry. Like,
she's
managing Dave's email is an impossible job.
Yes.
right? Like there's no way that guy declares email bankruptcy like every 2 months. But the VC ecosystem there, it used to be Boston was the center of VC, like a long time ago.
They were the center of innovation for a long time. But at some point it turned into more of a, do you have a gray hair, white guy, Harvard MBA as your CEO? And if not, you don't quite fit the mold. And we were 3 kids, right? And in our 20s, late 20s.
So it was you, Alex, and Mike?
Mike, yeah. And we were in our 20s. We have never done a company before. And, first-time founders, all developers.
Yep.
So they're like, where's your Harvard MBA? And we're like, we don't have one.
Right. It's a different model back then because
It is.
you did need this kind of MBA type to be the face
CEO,
of the company, CEO. And like the engineers were kind of kept on the side. Like you never go to pitch meetings. You don't actually go
the
to...
engineer founder, trend is very the West Coast Silicon Valley driven thing, right? And the other part is they also are very willing to fund things that have already a proven business model with all the financial projections, and this is how we're going to make money, and this is how much profit you get. So if you're trying to raise, at the time 2010, you're trying to raise the number 10 clone of Groupon, they'll write you a check.
Which was a clone of something else we'll talk about later. But yeah, so this is back in the day of like business plans. You had these networks. There's a lot of MIT, Harvard, kind of East Coast money. And then coming out here, you literally got into a car, pitched a guy in like 40 minutes and got your first commitment.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It was pretty, I think it convinced us that we should move out here.
Yeah. You're a unicorn in the old sense of the world. When I was recruiting, unicorn was someone who was technical, was a CS degree, did UX, did UI, did everything. And it'd be so hard to find these founders, right? These unicorn founders. Nowadays, unicorn is a $1 billion company. Everybody knows that. There's tons of them. Most of them don't make money. But Boomerang makes money. You've made money from day one. So you've only raised a seed round. It was about 375 or 400.
400,
and you've never raised again. But you've made money every year. Can you talk about that and how your investors think about it?
Yeah, I mean, we really focus on ability to get value out of what we provide as a service to our customer. And we knew that we wanted to grow from our own revenue and profits. It takes longer, right? It's not explosive growth because we are not able to spend on unprofitable growth, right? We focus on only sustainable marketing channels that actually brings in more money than we spend. But at the same time, it makes us very focused. As a company, we only work on the things that will bring value to our customer because that's who fund us and who guide us on what to do next. For our investors, we've been very lucky. A lot of them are, personal friends and personal champions to us and mentors and advisors in addition to being investors. And they've been very patient with us. But the good part is we were able to, issue our dividends and we already issue more than what they have invested in the company just as a dividend. So the beauty is, they got dividends and they still own equity in our company as we're growing. So it's pretty happy relationship.
Yeah, I mean, for angels, that's probably ideal because as an angel investor, most of the investments that you make is probably going to go to zero. But if you're giving dividends and it's a recurring revenue stream that's more than the money that they invested, it's all gravy after that, right?
What's not to like?
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Boomerang is profitable to multiple millions per year, right? So in the Valley, we would celebrate a startup for raising, a $3 million seed or A.
Right.
And you're like, you do that every year. So like, what's the big deal?
We actually make annually a large Series A.
Yeah.
Maybe I can talk about it. I don't mind.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard it's 7 figures.
We just hit 8 figures.
So there you go. So 8 figures without going into detail. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
For a very small company.
Yes.
That is still majority owned by the 3 founders. That sounds great to me.
It is, but there isn't the same level of respect for the real dollar that you get from the customer.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that strange?
It should be the other way around.
I know, right? If you go to, somebody to go pitch, hey, we have this story, they'll be like, oh, how much did you raise? Who's your VC?
Mm-hmm.
We're like, it doesn't matter.
Those
how much we raise is
yeah.
absolutely immaterial to us,
right.
because like we make more than what we raise every month.
Right.
Yeah. And they only look at that as a signal. But I think the tide has turned.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm forgetting the journalist's name. I wish I could remember. He went and did a lot of research on what are the makings of the unicorn founders.
Mm.
And what he found was the highest correlation is, and he defined a term called super founder. And super founder as somebody who has either sold a company for more than 50 million or only raised seed funding and gotten to more than 10 million or above in revenue. Revenue, not how much you raise or what valuation you get.
Yeah.
Actual cold hard cash from your customer.
Right.
And he found that being a super founder has the highest correlation of the next company they start being a unicorn.
Right.
So
interesting.
I think when you actually crunch numbers and see things as data points rather than like just, unconscious bias in your head, like, oh, they raised, 20 million for their last company. Well, yes, but do they incinerate that 20 million or do they turn those 20 million into something else?
So the two definitions of super founder, the first one is you had to exit above 50.
Above 50.
Yeah.
Or
have revenue profits over 10.
Yeah.
It's two different, it's almost like two binary outcomes, right?
Almost, yes. Yeah. But I think both are valid data points in what he found. So
that's just a predictor for the next company.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. So I would definitely put you in the category of super founder.
I never thought I was going to be outside of Burma, let alone US or MIT or anything. I never thought I would just dutifully go to college, start a business, because that's what my family does. Is everybody had their own businesses. So I assumed that's what I was going to do. And I run into a guy who came back from Harvard Master of Public Health program. And he was a journalist and anti-government journalist. And when he was at Harvard, he met a Nepali student who was going to undergrad at Harvard. And he's like, I don't mean to be rude. I came from Burma. You're from Nepal. Like, how can you afford to go to Harvard? Like, how does that work, right? Yeah. Are you really wealthy?
Yeah.
And the student told him that, hey, university like Harvard and, the really top tier, well-endowed university have a neat blind admission.
Yeah.
As long as you get in, they will figure out the financial aid package for you, even if you're an international student, which was basically like, it unlocked a lot of things in his brain. So he researched about universities here and talked to people. And when he got back to Burma after his program, he started doing this like informal little gathering. Wow. And at the time, it was considered illegal, right? Because Burmese government did not want people to gather on their own. If you gather without permit or permission, blessing from them for more than like 5 to 10 people, they can arrest you.
Wow.
So he was doing this little covert guerrilla
to get people to go to college,
educational campaigns, because he knows there are a lot of us just sitting around waiting to go to college and not knowing what to do.
Wow.
And he's like, hey, look, there's this thing called Neat Blind Financial Aid. And I went to one of those seminars or like little things. I met him once. He kind of laid out the process that this is what you do, take SAT, you have to apply. And then I tried to go back to him, right, to ask about like a financial aid application process or something. And his family, like I went to his house, his family was super dodgy about it. He's like, why are you asking for him? And I later learned that he ran from the government through the jungle to Thailand because they were trying to come after him. So that's the story of how I found out about, a way to apply to US universities. And you want to look for this magical key phrase called knee blind admission.
Yeah.
And then I got into MIT, and there was a scholarship set up by a Saudi guy for third world students exclusively.
Wow.
So he paid for my education. His foundation paid for my education. Yeah. And that's how I could get
That's crazy.
to where I am. Because
it's
a bunch of random stories, right?
Yeah.
And you never know.
But it's not random. But like you said, you can see the dots now looking back.
But you can't connect it forward when you were in the moment.
No way.
Yeah.
But without that guy, you wouldn't be here. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So when we started the company and, we named it Baiting and stuff, we put it in our company charter. At the time, it's just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Right? When we make profit, we're going to donate a, portion of our profits to advanced education in Burma.
Nice.
And we didn't really know that's where we would get to at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like actually making profit seems so far away when you're just like signing your paperwork.
Totally.
And then one day we're like, wait, we are actually
Here's
profitable.
all the money.
Yeah, like we can donate. So far we've done a few different projects. We funded an innovation, kind of like a startup hub in Rangoon, where I grew up. We did a mobile bus that's bring the education to kids who can't go to school because they are working.
Yeah.
So we have a very big tea shop culture in Burma, and a lot of them are run or staffed by kids who should be in school but cannot because of their family.
Yeah, because they're all family businesses.
No, it's they're from the villages and they go and come to the city and work at a tea shop and they send money back to their family. So there's no way for them to really learn or like go to a regular school. So somebody decided, hey, and it's actually I think he was Burmese American or some guy who was in New York, and then he went back to he wanted to start this project. So we funded the bus for them. They outfitted a school bus into a mobile classroom.
Awesome.
And they go to these tea shop and teach his kids after.
Cool.
And these kids are amazing. I admire them so much, right?
Yeah.
They wake up at 5 a.m., work all day, and these shops usually closes around 5. So they had a 12-hour work day, and then they come to the mobile classroom and learn for another 2 hours or 3 hours. And that's the level of determination and, hunger for knowledge is I don't know, if I had to work 12 hours a day and having to be up at 5, I'm done.
Well, the great thing about having kids is I'm up at 5 every day.
That's true.
One of those kids could be the next you, right?
Right. So when I went back and talked to them, right, I was like, look, I was able to go to college because of some random guy from some other country that I never heard of set up a scholarship. Yeah. Now I was able to do that and start a company. Now I can do that and help you. So one of your terms, make sure you pay it forward. Yeah. And help somebody out.
That's great. So, and we covered a lot. We'll kind of wrap up. Want to give you some time to talk about anything you want. I know Insights is a new product you guys have. There's other things you want to talk about. Whatever you want. The floor is yours.
I don't know. I don't really have anything special. I don't really like to preach.
Well, you can talk about Boomerang, or is there a way for people to donate to the schools in Burma?
If they want to donate, we are doing a fundraising campaign. I just got the fundraising letter today, and I'm supposed to be out there fundraising for building more schools.
Everybody can get behind that.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for coming by. This has been a great chat. This is episode 2 of Fun BMC, and we'll see you next time.
Just get the name right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to redo the intro. Man, are you standing there the whole time? Oh. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Wow. All right. No pressure. So I'm saying Amo. Amo. A. Got it. All right. I can't believe he's standing in the corner. All right. Fine. No, I think you're fine. You're shooting off this camera anyway. You're shooting off camera 1, so it doesn't matter. Let me do this real quick.